Howdy folks, Bill here with an inbox review of the Sturmpanzer IV Early version from Tristar. This is kit 040. It's a rebox with the addition of interior from the original 038 kit. If I'm not mistaken, this one came out in 2010. For more detailed information on its parentage, of course, check ScaleMates. That's one of my favorite places. I checked it out too before I bought this kit. I got this kit for 13 euros at the Salco shop. It was a special, whatever you call it, deal of the week, as long as supplies last. And I told a lot of friends about it. I've always wanted this kit. I've been looking for it for a while and kicking around. Yeah, its average price was between 25 and 33 euros new. A lot of times you had to be careful. People were showing the box with 040, but in the description, like on eBay, it was actually the 038 and did not have the interior with it. This version has been improved over the initial Tristar release. And as far as I know, Hobby Boss has now taken over Tristar's model kits, and they're starting to rebox again a lot of the older kits. I don't know whether these will be coming out again, but I've always wanted it. I'm happy with it. One thing to note, on the picture, it's showing Simmerit on the Superstructure. The kit itself does not have Simmerit on it. It is not made with Simmerit. Is it important? Yes, no, maybe. It depends on the historical vehicle that you might want to do. I'm probably going to turn this into a Krupp prototype with an 88mm cannon on it, because I know I am going to get this kit again. And obviously this is in 1/35 scale. I want to say right now, though, warning, it is not for beginners. Okay? If we could read this, which we cannot, it would say a lot more than just mid-production. There are some 800 pieces, if I'm not mistaken, within this kit. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this should tell you something. Suitable for ages 14 and up, so obviously not a starter kit. And even I feel that despite being 51 years old, it's going to take a lot of time and patience to build this kit. So let's look at it. Start off real quick with the lower hull. Standard Panzer IV hull. Nothing fancy. Nice texturing on the bottom. Really can't complain about it. Not that you'll see much of it. Nice fine veins here. These structural supports here on the back are very nice and fine. And otherwise it looks good. What else initially strikes my fancy? This is interesting. These are your Scherzen. Go this way. They are made of a very thin plastic, almost vinyl plastic. To scale, definitely. Would I have preferred photo etch? No. These will glue on just fine, and just with standard plastic cement. And looking at them, they are almost exactly the same thickness as my own homemade Scherzen. In fact, they're even thinner. They're more to scale than my Scherzen are that I made myself for my Panzer III for the Barkas build. And those were at, what, 0.2 millimeter? No, 0.1.5 millimeter. 0.15 millimeter. So these are actually pretty nice. They're stable. They hold their form, and they're gluable, so I will not complain about that. And then we have 3 PE frets with very fine detailing. I am not taking them out of the bag. They are photo etched chains for the pistol ports. There are photo etched internal locking mechanisms for the pistol ports. There are little grills here, some support pieces, ammunition box pieces. I see straps. Very nice, very fine. Doesn't seem too thick. And on the other side, we have the driver's vision block hatch. So the whole front glacis part, plus the gunner's side, it appears, in clear plastic. There are also decals in here, but I'm not going to take them out. I want to protect them for now. We have the instructions. I'm not really going to go through them. I'm just going to note there is a revision, and I will do like Switcher always says, and make sure that as soon as possible I note the differences in the revision. As far as I can tell, these 2 pieces, which are also included as photo etch, but I have misplaced them. Here. These 2 pieces, which are here as photo etch, are the only differences in the revision. The kit itself has let's see how many steps it has. This is something I do not like. I hate multiple fold-out instruction sheets. I like a book where I can just set it to 1 page and then change it. 16 steps. Now there's something to note. 16 steps and all these pieces. It's very, very busy in here. Here's a perfect example of how busy this is. I counted this out beforehand. There's like 29 pieces go into this 1 step here. They don't even have sub-assemblies visible. That's the only sub-assembly for the interior of the hatch that goes on there. But altogether, there's 29 pieces in 1 step. Why? Okay. I'll just pay attention when I work on it, but I don't find it nice. So, anyway, go through quick. Interesting note, there are overstressed springs included in the kit. The road wheels have separate rubber wheels. Here's a sprue map. Well, I'm thinking about it. It's a standard Panzer IV bottom, basically, with a few minor differences, and a superstructure for the Sturmpanzer itself, which makes it into a Sturmpanzer itself. It is also fully detailed interior. And you should take a look at the photos over at ScaleMates. There's some build reviews that show how very well detailed this interior is, but you can get a pretty close look at it just from this. There is a hell of a lot of detail. You've got a rear firewall, lower floor plate, and then all the ammunition, plus, must be on the next page, plus, I know I've seen radios in here. There's just monstrous detail. Yeah, here, radios. You've got all kinds of doodads and bits and bobs, and it's going to keep you busy for quite some time. Camouflage and color marking based on where it was. Oddly enough, this shows only 3 versions, which, despite the cover of the box showing Cimarron, none of these showed Cimarron, and they're all Italy 1944. So, note to self, that's how you get around not having something that's shown on the box. Sure, there were Sturmpanzers in Kursk and Leningrad, but if you put them in Italy in 44, then, oh gee, it didn't have Simmerit anymore. Perfect, we get around the problem. I don't like it, but I don't like Simmerit anyway. So that makes me happy. And there are most assuredly more than enough wheels to make all this extra detail. Speaking of which, let's get down to the plastic itself. And what I really find fantastic, the tires. These tires are marked as Panzer IV wheel later tires. And they are marked. They actually have, which there's no way you can see it in the video, but they actually have Continental written on here and the size of the wheel here. Now, I can barely see this. I need a magnifying glass to be able to see it clearly. But it is on here, and they are rubber. This isn't vinyl. This is rubber. It feels like rubber. It smells like rubber. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. I think these are even the return roller rubber pieces. And there's more than enough. So you definitely cannot complain about it. That's something that really, really impressed me with this kit. There's a lot of extras that you don't expect, but you get. Here we have suspension parts, overstressed springs, multi-part brackets for these springs and road wheels, different types of center plates for the brackets to hold it on. And if I'm not mistaken, the sprue is twice. Yes, there are two of this exact same sprue. And here we have the drive sprocket and idler wheel. Interesting note. This is what you always find on the Dragon kits as PE. It's got the rings that go inside of the idler wheels as separate plastic pieces. And I'm not going to complain about that. I prefer that. If I don't have to use PE, I won't. I mean, that's why I'm making the brackets for my Panzer III out of plastic, so I don't need PE. The gearbox here for the drive sprockets, very, very nicely detailed. You can almost see washer detail underneath the bolts here on the sides that are holding these two pieces together. There's a very, very fine line that shows where there's a washer underneath each one of them, or what appears to be. If you've ever gotten a Tristar Panzer IV, this would also be in that kit. Take a quick look at the tracks. These are, according to the instructions, clickable. I think it's more like they're just saying they are easy track. What do you call them? Yeah, magic tracks. Magic tracks from Dragon. But they are well detailed. They seem to have a very easily removable sprue gate. No ejector pin marks. The lightning hole is hollow. And by the way, it's not a lightning, it's a lightening hole to lighten the tracks up, in case anybody ever wondered about that. The detail is very nice. And they actually have two different types for left and right. They are handed. And it is visible, actually, on the tracks themselves. One side has the bolts sticking out, and the other side doesn't. Very nice. And they are 40 centimeter. It is marked here. So you know what kind you need if you're going to go and get Furl tracks or use magic tracks instead. But I think they'll work out pretty good. We'll wait and see. Now we have, that's the upper superstructure, the rear of the hull upper deck. That looks like the, for the air intakes, our fenders, which have a very soft waffle texture on it. Nothing fantastic, but it will take a wash. That's that studded metal. The insides, have ejector pin marks, but they are not very thick, not very high, but otherwise no detail on the inside. Other pieces of note. Nope, nothing really fantastic. With the exception that the detail on these pieces, that looks like part of a motor, if you ask me, like a drive belt or something. I'll have to look into that. Nonetheless, very nice detail. The inside of the superstructure's upper deck has very, very, almost, it has an interesting texture to it, but there are ejector pin marks, and they're not very dominant. They don't stick up. It just needs very little fixing to remove them. The other suspension sprue. Interior parts. We have two types of ammunition, an incredibly detailed submachine gun here. Very nice. Radios, which are quite detailed. I doubt you can see that, but take my word for it, very well detailed. Lots of other fine bits and pieces for the interior. Quite impressive. Something's missing here. I'm not mistaken, this is... I'll look on the other one, because you have that one twice. Anyway, on. Rear engine deck. Interesting textures. Front transmission cover. The superstructure's main support brace on the inside so that you can basically butt the hull pieces, the superstructure pieces against it. Very, very fine bits and pieces here there's some little hooks here and some kind of like a feeler bob thing on like you've seen on Panther sometimes. Nonetheless nice. Ejector pin marks are in areas where they will not be visible. Even the inside of the hatch has no ejector pin marks. Very nice. I hate it when they've got that and you want to do an open hatch. Now then we've got wheels, wheels, and wheels. 3 times the same wheel sprue. Part of them is not used according to the instructions, but there are also, part of them are also, as you can see, you've got metal return rollers, and you've got rubber return rollers. Good grief. Different types of hubcaps based on what year and model. The wheels themselves look very well made, and they go together quite easily. They've got a very obvious indentation and an external piece which fit together. Detail-wise, very nice. And of course, the benefit of having separate rubber tires is you can also show damaged road wheels. Now we have parts of the superstructure. Inner glasses plate. Good grief. That's part of the inner plate, and that's the outer plate. But they are thick, and I think they're trying to show the scale of the armor thickness of the vehicle at the time. These are, yeah, these are very thick plates. according to everything I've read on ScaleMates, they are to scale as far as their thickness goes, which is very nice indeed. And interestingly enough, we have no ejector pin marks on the sides of the superstructure. These pieces, yeah, they've got a couple on them, but they appear to be in areas that are covered by other objects. Might have to file them down. Otherwise, very nicely detailed. Has a nice, if this is the external, has a very nice texture to it. Looks a little bit like rolled steel texture. The thickness is what impresses me, though. Very nice, thick pieces. Appropriate for that type of citadel for a vehicle of that kind. Now we have internal parts. Slide molded barrel in 3 pieces, if I'm missing. 1, 2, and where's the third part? Back here. 3 pieces, plus the mantlet. And here's the firewall in the back. The floor plate is nicely textured. Very nice details there. The parts of the gun mount remind me a lot of the Tiger Porsche turret, the Porsche Tiger turret, the Tiger 2 turret that I built from Hobby Boss recently. Very, very fine details as far as all the parts of the gun go. Very nice. No flash. Yeah, here's the gunner's periscope again, but this time in hard plastic instead of a clear. And that's a very nice piece. Here are the side skirt mounting brackets. Wow, those are nice. Very fine, but very, very strong. I'm impressed. Okay, this one's bent, which sucks, but it's nothing that won't come out in the wash. I wonder why it got bent though. Oh well, nonetheless, it'll straighten up without any problem. And for being plastic, I have to admit these brackets are incredibly, incredibly fine made. I wouldn't even say you could get much finer or thinner with whatchamacallit, with PE. These are really nice. These side ones are really nice. Very impressive. Oh yeah. It was the other ammunition. Nope, there's nothing there. That's just an empty space. Here we have the exhaust pipe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 piece exhaust. Oh, 7 piece. It's even got the upper armor to protect it. Bracket for mounting spare tracks to the front. Tow cable eyelets, hollowed out. Very nice. Fire extinguisher is not bad. It looks like one. It's got nice details on its bracket. The jack, wow. Multi-part. Even Dragon doesn't come close on it. Uh-oh. Almost lost something here. Okay, that's not good. I don't know if that's a piece or if that's just hanging out here in the wind. I don't like it though. I'll have to be careful with that. because it appears to be a part. And it's not protected by anything. Oh well. Nonetheless, very nice. And final piece, or sprue, excuse me. The lower armor supports the air intakes for the side, your rear deck grills and hatches, transmission cover hatches, 2 different types apparently. Interesting. That's interesting. One's with holes for the breather, one without holes. I have to see which ones are used in the kit itself. Some other little bits and bobs. Here's your air vents for the transmission. The binocular periscope. And some other odds and ends that I cannot identify at this moment. But look, nonetheless, very nice. Oh, interesting. Separate fenders. Yay. Your mud guards. Look like the rear mud guards. That's interesting. We'll take a look here at the oh, that's great. It's interesting. The rear, oops, goes this way. The rear mud guards are separate. I had noticed that initially. I accidentally removed the piece from the sprue. No, apparently there's also separate front mud guards too. I'll have to look closer at that, but I like that. That's good. That's good. That's very good. Anyway, where are they? Rear mud. I'll find them. Unimportant. Anyway, that's my take on the Tristar 040 Sturmpanzer. Early version. Little complaints. The art on the box shows it with Simmerit. The kit itself does not have it. Interesting concepts. You could actually take the interior from this, mix it with the Dragon version, and in all honesty, you'd get a full interior due to the average price of this kit being somewhere between 25 and 30. And like I said, I got it for 13 euros. You could take one of these kits, use the interior of it for the Dragon kit, and come out with a fantastic combined vehicle. Not to mention the road wheels and the separate rubber tires that go along with them. The suspension set itself is fantastic. You can, oddly enough, buy the suspension separate from Tristar. Do I have any complaints? Major? Yeah. Like I said, the instructions suck. I could think of a lot easier and better ways to do it. I might even scan these and put it together as pages of a book, so I could just open it like a book and have it all compact without having to go and then like this. And am I going to complain? No. It's a minor problem. Nonetheless, I'm pleased with it. It's a vehicle that I've always wanted, and that's all. Happy modeling, and see you soon. Bye-bye.